Good evening and welcome to the Union County Board of Education meeting. I call it to order. Next up, Reverend Benson.
It gives me great honor tonight that we have in our presence this evening, under the command of Lieutenant Colonel David Morgan and First Sergeant Randall Barlow, Cadet Commander Sophia Mada, the Weddington High School Junior ROTC, for the presentation of colors and the leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Hold. Left turn. March. Hold. Ready. March.
We pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Face. Forward. March.
Thank you. Okay. So board members, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
9-0, thank you. Next up is the John H. Crowder Service Award. Reverend Kirkpatrick.
Over 3 decades, John H. Crowder dedicated his life to supporting the needs of Union County. In honor of his enduring contributions and lasting impact, the Union County Board of Education presents the John H. Crowder Service Award on a monthly basis to recognize exceptional high school students who are actively contributing to their school and community. Recipients of this award excel academically and possess a well-established track record of community involvement. Tonight, we award the John H. Crowder Service Award for September to a Weddington High School senior. Graham Mills has a heart for his community and finds every opportunity to serve it. As an active member of the school's National Honor Society, Graham participates in chapter service projects like Hope for the Holidays. Additionally, Graham received a gold medal award from the U.S. Congress Congressional Award Program after completing and tracking 427 hours of volunteer service, 257 hours of personal development, and more than 1,400 hours of physical fitness. Some muscles, man.
All right.
Graham supports those struggling with homelessness by volunteering at the Union County Community Shelter and the Second Harvest Food Bank of Metrolina. Graham has spent more than 200 service hours working in the warehouse and food pantry, sorting and organizing donations, cleaning and packing food bags. Furthermore, he has prepared and delivered over 1,100 lunches for the residents of UCCS. Dedicating to bringing quality learning resources to underserved children, Graham also spends his time working at Promising Pages. He collects and donates books to students living in situations where they would not otherwise be readily accessible. He supports teachers and students at high-need schools by providing donated supplies and resources through his involvement with Classroom Central. Graham has also organized book drives in partnership with local businesses because he recognizes the value of providing quality education and experiences to our youngest students. Finally, as an athlete and scholar, Graham is a regular volunteer with the Smithsonian Transcription Center, the Special Olympics of North Carolina, and Operation Sandwich. He also enjoys volunteering his time coaching various youth teams. Board members and those who have gathered on tonight, please join me in congratulating Graham Mills as the September 2023 recipient of the John H. Crowder Service Award.
Reverend Kirkpatrick, I got one question for Mr. Graham. When do you do your homework?
Okay, next up is the influencer, Miss Megan.
Good evening. My name is Tawana Meggett, and I am the Director of Employee Relations. We are absolutely thrilled to shine a spotlight on two remarkable individuals who have earned the title UCPS Influencers for October 2023. This program honors the enthusiasm, commitment, and outstanding work ethic of UCPS staff members who consistently put in the extra effort each day. What makes this recognition special is that it's not decided by a select committee. Instead, it's the result of nominations from our staff, students, parents, and community members. These are the people who see firsthand the positive impact these employees have on students and their peers. I am honored to present Barbara Fialo, a kindergarten teacher, and Amanda Hurst, an instructional assistant, both from Newtown Elementary. I will now invite the nominators to the podium to read the submission and recognize the honorees' accomplishments. Ms. Angie McCray, will you please come up?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Angie McCray, a parent of a student at Newtown Elementary. Ms. Fiala, will you please come forward and join me? I'm going to get choked up, I can already tell you guys.
That's great.
The impact this woman has had in our life, I could never describe. Barbara Fialo is truly a treasure for Union County Schools. My son started in her kindergarten class fall of 2022. And she has played a vital part in his education and growth in ways that I could never thank her enough for. My son had motor delays and speech delays, along with migraines that we were struggling with. She offered to go to doctor's appointments with me and still has offered to do that this year as well. She got a plan together very quickly, and after the first week, she was helping him in the classroom and working to get me the extra resources that he needed as fast as she could. Throughout the year, he grew in ways I didn't think he would in such a short time. She truly cares about her students and their futures. They aren't just her students for a year. They are her babies for life. You can see it when you're at school as all her old students come and give her hugs and smiles. I will eternally be grateful that this woman was in my son's life. She was meant to be a teacher, and Union County is lucky to have her as one of its best.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Allen, and I am the principal at Newtown Elementary. I am going to be reading the submission tonight for Miss Megan Weatherford, who is a parent at our school. Miss Hurst, will you please come and join me? And I can tell you they are both absolutely fantastic. Amanda Hurst is such a beautiful soul who left an indelible mark on my child's heart with her love notes. My daughter insisted we save every one of the almost daily notes that were sent home with kind words of encouragement. She actually started writing her own notes for family members. Miss Hurst's notes were more than just pieces of paper. They were powerful reminders of the importance of kindness and empathy in education. The simple gesture made my daughter feel cherished and valued in her first year at Newtown. It's also a reminder that even the smallest acts of love can profoundly impact a child's life. Thank you.
Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
I will now read the UCPS Influencers Proclamation from the Board of Education and Dr. Houlihan. Whereas the Union County Board of Education values the hard work of each employee within the district. Whereas performance is an essential part of district operations. Whereas Barbara Fiallo and Amanda Hurst exemplify the performance, dedication, and teamwork essential to the success of the district and its students. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Education for Union County Public Schools, and Dr. Andrew G. Houlihan, Superintendent, hereby proclaim Barbara Fiallo and Amanda Hurst as UCPS Influencers of the month of October 2023. Congratulations on this outstanding honor, and thank you for all that you do to be positive, to be a positive influence on others each and every day.
Next up is public comments. At every regular meeting of the board, up to 60 minutes have been allotted for public comments. The board will not respond to public comments. However, a member may ask that the chair obtain clarification. Residents, parents, students, and employees of the district will receive priority on the list of speakers. If a speaker is not present when his or her name is called, the opportunity to speak will be considered waived. Only persons signed up may speak. Speakers may not give their time to another person or have someone speak on their behalf. Speakers may address the board for a maximum of 3 minutes. The board will not hear in open session complaints about the performance of school personnel, personnel issues, confidential student issues. Should a speaker wish to seek information or share items that may not be shared during public comments, members of the UCPS cabinet staff are available to address your concerns or provide information. Cabinet staff members are seated at the table to my left. Okay, I'm terrible with last names. Fred. Say it again. Thank you. Come on up.
Honorable ladies and gentlemen of the board, thank you for your time this evening. I promise I will keep this brief and won't even use the 3 minutes. I come to you tonight as a concerned parent of a Rayview elementary student, and on behalf of 500 other families that found out about this like late Thursday night of last week, the proposed cell tower. And I was asked by the 500 families to come up and present, and I'm presenting on behalf of myself. But we do have a number of questions and concerns that ideally we would love the opportunity to speak with each of you about individually, not all of us at once, of course, but 1 or 2 people, at your time. While I'm here, though, I did want to bring up one point of order. By trade, I do real estate development, and I was looking at the PDF of the proposed tower by Vogue, and my first thought was, oh, this is an inconsequential distance from the school. Like, this is great. And then I was like, wait a minute, these cars would be gigantic by the scale that they used, right? It was 1 inch is 400 meters, which would put the tower like 800 meters or so from the school, but it's not. If you go on Google Maps, they have a tool where you can measure distance, and it's about 140 meters, which is roughly double the width of this room. That's how far the tower would be from the school. And I'm not here to speak on safety. I'm certainly not qualified to do that. But I can say that the FCC recommends 200 meters as a good distance from a school or a hospital. And the EPA, who has nothing to do with this whatsoever in a regulatory standpoint, also recommends to school districts and hospitals that they seriously reconsider placing towers within 200 meters of such facilities. They would know better than I. But I thought that was something that could potentially have been easily missed. Just looking at the survey, I'm like just about missed it. Had it not been for the cars in the parking lot, my kids go to that school. I know the size and the layout, and it hit me because I was familiar with it. And I wanted to bring that to the attention in case anyone else, also didn't catch that and thought that this was of further distance than it actually would be. Again, we would love the opportunity to speak with you on some of our other concerns. I thank you all for your time this evening.
Oh, sorry. Next up is Christina Dusenberry. She's not here. Okay. Next up is Catherine Herberger. Come on up.
Hi. My name's Katie Herberger. I've been a teacher for 21 years. I have my master's of science in education. I'm certified in math and I'm certified in special ed. So I'm standing up here to talk about the standpoint of the communication tower as a teacher and a mother, because I have two beautiful boys that go to Rayview Elementary. And I'm also, like Fred, very concerned about the cell tower and how close it is to the school. There's been a lot of studies out there that shows that the radiation, not good. I can email you all of my studies I've researched on. I have a bibliography of 11 different things I can send you. I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned for the teachers. As a teacher, if there was a cell tower being built next to my school where I work at, I would go find another job. So I just want you to please take the time, really think about, I know that you've been taking the time, but reconsider the cell tower. And I know that we're voting on it at the November meeting. And I guess I look forward to coming back and addressing you all at that time again. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Paige Zukas. How do you say it? Oh, close.
Good evening. I had plans to address the board this evening about the proposed cell tower at Rayview Elementary School and on the school grounds. We were advised to streamline our approach this evening, and out of respect to the board, we had elected Fred to speak for us this evening. Unfortunately, when we arrived this evening, we were told that we could not present this way. So I will say this, the concern is mounting. We have community support, parent support, teacher support, and that we would like for you to use this time between now and the next board meeting to review the links and research and information that you all have been sent by concerned parents. We would like to encourage an open dialogue and conversation to understand your perspective and your needs, and we want our voices to be heard too. So I really hope you take the time to consider, take a look, and I'll be prepared to speak next meeting. So I'll see you then. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Alex Drander. How you say?
Sandra.
Okay.
Rosama.
Rosama. Got it. Rosama.
Thank you.
Alex.
Thank you so much for allowing me to address you. Thank you for your public service. I know that sometimes it can be a thankless job, and I appreciate you hearing the opportunity to speak. I am the concerned Rayview parent who started the petition on change.org when I first heard about the proposed tower on Thursday evening. Late that night, I was writing up and trying to summarize some coherent thoughts, which is hard to do sometimes on lack of sleep. But at this point, 511 people have signed this petition. So I'm just going to read you the gist of it so you have an idea of what it is about. We, the concerned parents, guardians, and community members of Marvin and Waxhaw, North Carolina, are united in our determination to safeguard the health and well-being of our children. We call upon the Union County Public School Board to halt the proposed construction of the 5G tower on the premise of Rayview Elementary. Given the ongoing discussions regarding the science and health issues around the rollout of 5G infrastructure, more research is needed before our child's health is potentially put at risk. The research is compelling enough that other school districts and communities have ceased and banned such towers on school property. If you care about the future safety of hundreds of children and staff members, please sign this petition. I want to give you an idea of the mounting support for this. There were people who were prepared to picket tonight, and we said, you know what? We have a chance to have a dialogue. Let's not create a spectacle at this point. Let's talk. Let's share what we've learned. Let's share what's raising our concerns, and let's hear more about the decision And so we're looking forward to having the opportunity to do that. I do want to take the opportunity simply because this person couldn't be here tonight. She is a board certified physician who is actually serving our veterans at the VA, Dr. Michelle Bott. I would like to read her letter that I asked her to write as an open letter to the board. I'll be happy to follow up and email it to you all tomorrow and copy Michelle on it, but she's working late tonight at the VA hospital. She's a staff physician there for Veterans Affairs and associate professor with the Brody School of Medicine. And she wrote concerning this, "To whom it may concern, I am a board-certified family physician as well as a parent of 2 future Rayview Elementary School children. I speak not only as a parent, but as a physician with concerns regarding the future health and risks of our children if a cell phone tower is placed in close proximity to where they spend 1/3 of their day for at least 9 months out of the school year. We do know for a fact that cell phone towers emit radio frequency. We also understand that young children's brains are still developing and exposure to toxins can cause both short-term and long-term effects. We may not understand what all of these effects are at this time, but we do know
Thank you. Can you email?
I will be happy to email it. It goes on to say the World Health Organization has classified this as a known carcinogen. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up is Beth Lambert. That was
Good
the easy
evening.
one. Thank you.
My name is very pronounceable. Thank you for your service. My name again is Beth Lambert. I'm a resident of Waxhaw. I'm also the founder and executive director of a 501c3 nonprofit organization that's dedicated to understanding environmental impacts on children's health. I am here to talk about the Rayview cell tower proposal, understanding we'll be hitting this in another month, but I want to make everybody aware of some of the concerns. My organization is conducting several IRB-approved research studies under the leadership of an epidemiologist at the University of Maryland School of Medicine, examining the impact of children's health, of environmental exposures on children's health, such as petrochemicals, heavy metals, relatively recent exposures, such as electromagnetic radiation, and radio frequencies from wireless devices, cell towers, 5G frequencies, and more. I feel like this is too high for me. Our research has found unequivocally that electromagnetic radiation and wireless radio frequency exposures are strongly correlated with negative health outcomes for children and may be associated with conditions like ADHD, sensory processing disorder, autoimmune conditions, cancer, and more. It has been established for over a decade that electromagnetic fields are a possible carcinogen, yet our FCC regulations have not caught up with the scientific and medical literature. Dr. Linda S. Birnbaum, former director of the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences and National Toxicology Program, has stated, a mounting body of published research studies associates radio frequency radiation with adverse negative health effects. FCC limits need to be strengthened to protect the public, especially children and vulnerable populations, from long-term exposures, not to mention our staff and our faculty and people who work at these schools as well. A National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences panel designated these exposures as possible human carcinogens. The International Association on Research on Cancer of the World Health Organization also assigned this designation to electromagnetic fields. According to the International Agency for Research on Cancer, there are 264 exposures identified as possible human carcinogens. These possible carcinogens include lead, methylmercury, diesel fuel, marine fuels, gasoline, toluene, ethylbenzene, chlordane, 1,4-dioxide, DDT, and 255 other known compounds presumed to be linked to cancer based on a growing body of evidence. These toxins are in the same category of cancer risk to children as the exposures from cell towers. So we're going to talk a lot about this and then at the next meeting potentially, and I know we have a lot of support coming. So I do ask you to do your due diligence and do some research in advance of the meeting to really establish an understanding of the potential risk to our students, our faculty, and staff members. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up is Dominique. Give me your last name.
Brownies.
Thank you.
Yeah, not an easy one to pronounce. I do get that often. Board members, thank you for your service. Thank you very much for the opportunity to address you this evening. I'm going to assume you know why I'm here to speak. I had initially signed up to speak to you about the proposed cell tower at Rayview. I have several concerns and questions, largely questions around the due diligence that has been done. I was very troubled by the way that this decision was proposed to be made and voted upon this evening. So I want to thank you for the removal of this item from the consent agenda as it was initially proposed. And thank you. And would like to thank you in advance for the partnership, because I do see this. I mean, UCPS is special. We have special faculty, special students. My daughter goes to Rayview, my son goes to Sandy Ridge. We've had nothing but positive experiences. And I expect that that partnership is going to continue and that you all are going to do what I assume your motivation is for serving on this board, which is the right thing for students, faculty, parents, and the community. So thank you in advance and look forward to partnering with you as we progress through this and meet again next month. Thank you all.
Thank you. Next up is Dominique Brown.
Not again.
Not here?
He's not here.
Not here, okay. Next up is Laura Varela. How do you say it?
Varela.
Varela. There you go.
Members of the board, I thank you for the opportunity of speaking. I am very impressed with the people who are presenting other comments to you and also for your service. I am not here to talk about the cell tower, but it is very serious, and I appreciate seeing the professional attention that you are giving us. It makes me proud. My husband and I have been residents here in Monroe for 2 years now, and we're feeling like blessed transplants here. And one of the things that we're very passionate about is our school systems. I am not a young chicken, so my children are grown, but I do have a granddaughter who goes to Rock Rest Elementary. But my passion is actually helping those in need with the Reading With You program. So I do volunteer at East Elementary, and that's where I met Gary at a prayer walk just a couple Mondays ago. And I wanted to personally thank every one of you, but also to the veterans on our board. You are very special in serving our country, and as the gentleman put in the prayer, we can't enjoy living in the country we do without that sacrifice of time and keeping our freedom here. So I have a gift for all the veterans. This is called Real Life Stories, and it's positive stories about people weathering the storms in life. These are actual real vets with real stories, and that we're not alone. My husband and I also have books for Hispanic, for others, both our stories of how, we have weathered the storms. And we're not alone, even as a community, to have a positive word to say, you matter. And that's one thing I love about the Reading With You program. I give 30 minutes of my undivided time to show that little student they're the most important person in the world to me for that 30 minutes. Because one, you're not only helping them read, but you're developing a relationship saying you're valued and this school system wants to see you succeed. So I want to thank you very much for all your service. Thank you. Thank you.
Next up, Kimberly Hainsley.
Good evening. Board, you can relax. This is directed to Dr. Houlihan, who I couldn't get a call or a meeting or any. I did get your email, but I'm not sure if Donna sent it or you sent it. So I wanted to, I think I've heard already safety 3 times. And I wanted to ask Union County Public Schools how you really define safety. Quickly, I was at Monroe High School on Friday night watching the Monroe Forest Hills game. that goes without saying. We've sent more videos than enough. My concern is that you use the word safety when you use the stadium for graduation and you give a certain amount of tickets to parents because you say it's safety. And I asked the question 2 years ago when I had a student that graduated. By the way, one of the best days of my life was when he did graduate, because I thought I was going to be done with Union County Public Schools. But anyway, you have a certain amount of tickets for graduation, and I asked you 2 years ago, what happens at a ball game when you allow unlimited gate sales? Well, Friday night tells you what happened. So my question is, and thank you, Tahara. Thank you always, Jared. Dr. Tyson, you still owe me a call. My question is, how do you define safety? And I want to answer to that question from whoever makes the decision. My point is the fish rots at the head. This is an unanswered question from 2 years ago, and I experienced an unsafe environment the other night. I'm a fan of every game. I believe in student athletes, but I also believe in making it make sense. So if you're going to limit graduation tickets, which I think is most important, like why all the students are in school is to graduate. Not all students play sports. Make it make sense. That's all I'm asking. Because many parents have to make a decision come graduation time. But when it comes to Friday nights and those gates, is it about money or is it about safety? Make it make sense. That's all I'm asking.
Next is Reagan Shaw.
More on the topic of safety. 1 in 5 transgender people face domestic abuse from family members due to their gender identity. In the policy documents UCPS has created for the bureaucratic and humanitarian nightmare that is SB 49, there are no safeguards created for trans students who are in danger of abuse at home due to forced outings. Add safeguards to the policy before it is passed. There's a kid in danger who is counting on you for safety. And if UCPS staff are illegally interpreting the law, we'll pursue it. We will also hold you accountable for any discriminatory book bans. The buck stops on your desk. If discrimination is occurring, which it is, it's on you to fix it. On a related note, Moms for So-Called Liberty counts Facebook members as its members. If you don't want to be counted as a member, don't be part of their Facebook group. Likewise, Moms for So-Called Liberty will be associated with the unconstitutional rabbit holes of its members. Now, let's get back to why the GOP is going after LGBTQ kids. They're a scapegoat for a GOP scheme. Republicans in Raleigh want to defund public schools, and that is what they are doing. They are putting public funds in the hands of rich private school parents. Funding private schools with public cash requires people to be scared of our public schools. This means saying trans people are coming after your daughters, librarians will make you gay, teachers will make white people hate their skin. It's a scam. The latest state budget has finally been released. $1.7 billion will go into private schools over the next decade in the form of school vouchers. Meanwhile, we have plenty of public schools in North Carolina with infrastructure problems and lack of essential staff for weeks or months on end. Average teacher pay is currently at 46th in the nation. We're quickly becoming the Rip Van Winkle state again. Even these paltry budget increases in teacher salary, Tennessee and Alabama will be paying their teachers more. This board should never brag about doing less with more. The reality is that test scores heavily overlap with socioeconomic distribution, something countrypolitan counties have a huge geographical advantage in. UCPS may be number 2 for test scores in the state, but it's no coincidence that it's also number 2 in per capita income. We are awash with expensive private tutoring services on one side of the county, while test scores are in a terrible state on the other side. Sure, there is the Focus Schools program, which will offer a little more than $5 million to struggling schools, but to provide an equitable education under the Leandro ruling, Union County Public Schools are owed $72.8 million. More than 20 school boards have spoken out about the GOP ignoring our legal right to this money, as well as how GOP voucher funding is stealing that money and giving it to private schools. Why, UCPS, are you silent on the matter? Could it be you're in on the scam? The red wall leaves our Union County Public Schools truly in the red, desperate for any dime that can get off of a 5G tower. Want to make sure growth doesn't negatively impact our schools? Talk to your GOP friends in Raleigh. They're ultimately responsible for the problem. Want to change the calendar? Talk to your GOP friends in Raleigh. They're ultimately responsible for the problem. Want to break the GOP laws you don't agree with? Ha! Well, let it be known that we've just instituted various full sides of civil disobedience.
Thank you. Next up is Abigail Prado.
Good evening. Tonight, I would like to once again speak in favor of the proposed bathroom policy, which will exclude biological males from entering female-only spaces in Union County Public Schools. Unfortunately, I have yet another tragic story of an underage girl being sexually assaulted by a transgender student in a school bathroom. In October 2021, in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, a 12-year-old girl named Ray was washing her hands in the girls' bathroom when an older male student followed her into the restroom. He pinned her against the counter, violently hit her in the head, wrestled her to the floor, and forcibly raped her. Ray would later write in her diary, "I was raped. I was raped. I was raped. Fucking kill me." Once the girl's mother learned of her daughter's attack, she reported the rape to law enforcement, who began an investigation into the attack, as well as an investigation into the school's gender-affirming policies, which allowed the rape to occur. It was concluded that the horrific act was only able to occur because the school had adopted and was strongly pushing transgender ideology. Quote, "We learned that kids were pledging allegiance to the pride flag instead of the American flag," quote, the victim's mother stated. Quote, "We learned that some teachers were discussing daily the normalcy of transgender people and gender dysphoria," end quote. Ray reported that the school's far-left culture and adoption of transgender ideologies pressured her into accepting men into women's spaces. The students were taught that if they did not want or did not feel safe with men in their bathrooms and locker rooms, that they were, quote, "improperly judging transgender men," end quote. Ray stated, quote, "A lot of those natural instincts, those emotions, those barriers or protective walls that I had up, the school made it feel like those were bad," end quote. As we have seen time and time again, the school was afraid to discipline or expel the rapist, so Ray was simply moved to another school in the same district. A few months later, the rapist violently attacked a female student at gunpoint. The victim was only 14 years old. The rapist later graduated with his class. When asked about her school and their adoption of transgender policies, Ray stated, quote, "I feel extremely betrayed by them. For the last 2 years, I've had to accept that there probably won't be any justice." She continued by stating that she no longer believes that transgender individuals should have full inclusion into women's spaces. Quote, "By them saying the only thing that matters is how they feel and not how I feel is very selfish. If they want their own bathroom, then gladly get your own bathroom. If you want to be included in your own way that doesn't cause danger to everyone else," end quote. I am imploring you, the Union County Board of Education, to create a new policy which will not allow biological males into our daughter's female-only spaces. The policies that are in place now are dangerous and actively dismiss our daughter's needs. Allowing biological males into female-only spaces can make them. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Jan Saunders.
Good evening. First, I'm honored to be here in front of the two amazing humans that were represented from Newtown Elementary, Ms. Hurst and Ms. Fiello. They're amazing staff, and I'm honored to be in their presence every day at our school. I'd also like to give a shout out to Ms. Russell and her whole team for taking the initiative to protect my son, so I don't have to go through a third year of being bullied and tortured. He doesn't have to go through a third year of being bullied and tortured on a daily basis. By the way, my kid is scared of using the bathroom. Again, shock and awe. Thanks. I wanted to point out that there is the complete failure of the Parents' Bills of Rights rollout that is leaving on the table our most vulnerable kids. We're encouraging public outings of our kids. We're calling the teachers who only want to succeed in educating our students and adding more pressure to the already strained staff. But hey, they got their ability to be more involved. So let's talk about involvement, shall we? It's great that our district did so well on testing, but let's not forget that the majority of those grades come from the western side of Union County. Where does that leave the students in our most neglected areas? Our BPOC and immigrant communities are struggling, and yet we continue to ignore the simple things like social economic equality. Teaching the whole child means going beyond a test grade. Do you know where we could improve? We could be fighting for the money that's already paid into the school districts. We could stand for the General Assembly and demand that they stop using our tax dollars to fund the voucher program. If we're willing to, we could break the law to change the calendar. Then we could also choose to stand up for our students and tell the legislation to stop stealing our money. Or we won't even have public education to fight for. For our district would receive from the Leandro plan an expected 29% increase in funding, or $72.8 billion. I left you the paper. So next month, when you head to Raleigh, Mr. Sides, maybe you could ask for our tax dollars to come back locally. On a final note, some clarification from last month. Congratulations, Moms for Liberty. You're right. You haven't banned many books because we're shining the light and not allowing you to use your discrimination in the dark any longer. We're standing up against your narrative here. Just like WISE was denied, we will do the same here. If you don't want your kid to read the books, then don't go into the library. We'll also keep you out of the public funded libraries because anti-government extremist groups and government shouldn't mix. I'll end this with a quote from the great John Lewis. We have been too quiet for too long. It has come a time when we have to say something. You have to make a little noise. You have to move your feet. This is the time. PSS is making noise and Union County is moving our feet.
Next up is Jason Hall.
To the honorable members of the Union County School Board. My name is Jason Hall and I live in Waxhaw. I'm currently serving our community as a commissioner, but I'm here today speaking with you as a parent of 2 children in our amazing public school system. I'm hopeful that some of my comments today might reach some of you. Recently, 3 of you on this board visited Waxhaw and presented yourselves angrily against a new community idea that hasn't even been officially presented for consideration. Your decisions to politicize this board have resulted in the fueling of hate speech and divisive messaging in Western Union County. Unfortunately, your angry words towards the 3rd largest municipality in Union County was only part of the story, and I am here to set that record straight. It's true that some of the schools in our county are currently at their peak, but those numbers are trending down if you read the McGibbon report on your website, a study ordered by you and funded by taxpayers. Interestingly, Waxhaw is seeing the same trends identified in the McGibbon report. The reality is that people aren't having as many kids, and they're aging in place. And the town of Waxhaw is consistently sharing data with this board. Here's a statement from your staff. UCPS is reluctant to take a hard stance on individual developments, pro or con. We are not against growth, but neither are we promoting it. Our concerns center on the ability of our schools to handle increases in enrollment. We periodically hire a third-party demographer to provide analysis and forecasts of enrollments for the next 10 years. This analyst not only looks at new residential development, but also economic factors, such as inflation and interest rates, as well as migration rates and birth rates. With everything combined, a new residential development does not necessarily equate to a rise in enrollment for the affected schools. End quote, your staff. Union County schools consistently have the highest performance standards in the state and are nationally recognized. And this is 100% attributable to our teachers. So what did you think was going to happen in a community with such high standards and low crime? Did you really think nobody was going to notice during the past 20 years? Your words make it sound like this growth is all a big surprise. Had you instead chosen to work together, you might have learned that Waxhaw has some thoughtful opportunities that could potentially solve many future planning school board needs. In the past, this school board has stood up for our community in great ways. You fought against mandates and other ideologies trying to infect our classrooms. For that, you are to be lauded. Chairman Heintel, I am here today to offer you an olive branch in working together and developing a realistic plan for our future. Please work with the growing municipalities in tearing down walls that only seek to divide our community. Thank you very much.
Need a motion to approve the September 6th meeting minutes.
So move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
9-0. I need a motion for the consent agenda.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. 9-0. Next up is the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
October comes with many celebrations, but I want to begin by kicking off this month by honoring a very special group of individuals who work tirelessly in our school system, and that is our principals. I've said it a number of times, UCPS has the best school leaders in the state of North Carolina. Our principals set the bar high and lead our schools with excellence. I'm extremely proud of each of them, and I hope you will join me this evening in recognizing their hard work and leadership throughout the month of October. So thank you to our school principals for a job well done. As you heard earlier tonight, yesterday we kicked off our Read With You campaign. This is a volunteer campaign for members of the community to get involved with our schools, our elementary schools, to sign up to read with the first or second grader for 30 minutes every single week. I know firsthand this experience will be a great for you and for the students that are involved. To learn more, please visit the Read With You website on our UCPS website and click on Connect. And finally, I do want to take a few minutes to address ongoing concerns related to safety at UCPS events and games. Over the past month, we have experienced a number of safety events at our athletic events. I do want to reiterate our collective expectation that safety is a #1 priority throughout all schools in UCPS. We have had many conversations with our law enforcement partners about a number of items, and it is time that we change a few practices and policies moving forward. Effective October 6th, UCPS will implement the following protocols. Only clear bags, no larger than 4.5 by 6.5, will be allowed in events and games. Medical and baby bags are subject to search. Second, middle and elementary students must be accompanied by an adult to attend any event and game. Third, all ticket sales will end at the beginning of halftime or at the midpoint at an event. We will continue to assess these protocols and consult with law enforcement and make adjustments as needed. I'm asking that our students, parents, and community partner with us to keep our games and events safe at all times and enjoyable for all who attend. This information will be communicated this evening to all families and to the community. I also want to say thank you to our law enforcement members, to our school-based staff, our district staff. This response is not a response from just Friday night. We have had too many issues throughout the fall that this is creating this change. And I do want to say to members of our law enforcement communities, to our staff, to our school staff, thank you for your ongoing efforts to keep our kids, our staff, and our community safe at all times. Board members, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Next up is policies.
Yes, good evening, members of the board. Before you tonight, you have 4 revisions to policies, or revisions to 4 policies, and 3 proposed new policies for your review. I will try and answer any questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is board comments. Next up is announcements. In November, we're going to move our
In November, we're going to move our board meeting to Wednesday, November 8th, because of the election on the 7th. So we're going to move it to Wednesday. And Policy Committee moves to October 24th at 8 a.m. for Zoom. Anybody else?
Madam Chair, District 1 will have our meeting on October the 19th at 6:30, and we're encouraging all District 1 families to attend. We will be sending out some information to our schools because we would like for our teachers and administrators to attend if they can, and also to provide any concerns that they would like to be expressed to our parents. So that will be October the 19th at 6:30 at Rehoboth Church, 600 East Franklin Street, Monroe, North Carolina.
Facilities is meeting on October 25th at 9 a.m. and curriculum will be October 25th at 10 a.m. and both are via Zoom.
The Strategic Planning, Technology, and Transportation Committee will meet on the 25th at 8 a.m.
Anything else? Okay, I need a motion.
Finance, we're
Sorry.
waiting,
going to give Shauna some more lead to digest the 600-page state budget recently passed. And so stay tuned when we're ready to have a finance committee meeting to discuss the implications for this year.
I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.